This podcast is for entertainment and storytelling purposes only and is not a substitute for professional advice. Some topics may be sensitive. Please listen with care and seek support if needed.
Hi, I'm Kristal Parke. Welcome to Season 2 of the Because She's Adopted podcast. Today's guest is Mike Odne, my brother. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you for having me on your show, Kristal.
I'm so excited you're here.
I was in the neighborhood.
You were in the neighborhood. Well, this is a family affair today because we've got my brother, Mike. We've got his son, my nephew, John, on audio today. So I am really excited to have my family here with me today. Hi, John. Welcome. So you were part of my documentary and you played such a pivotal role in the documentary because I think what you did was you offered an adoptive family perspective. You offered a sibling perspective, and it really resonated deeply with a lot of people. And so I've done lots of in-person screenings, and I've done lots of online screenings to people from the US, the UK, Australia. And awesome. Usually after the screening, I always do a question and answer period where I'll stay and I'll answer the questions. And they always ask about you. Oh, cool. Or they always comment and just say, your brother was so accepting and he was so open to the whole experience. And it seemed like at the end that he really had a perspective shift. So I'm just going to show it right now. We'll just take a look at that right now.
I was naive in my thinking that someone who's adopted would want to know where they came from. But that was just my ignorance. I've realized that this whole process is deep to the heart, cuts to the heart. More than we know as someone like me sitting on the sidelines.
What were your initial thoughts when I asked you to participate in the documentary?
Is that when we're on the back porch there talking at my place?
Yeah, well, I think that I shared with you that I wanted to do a documentary at that point. And I think that night was the night that I shared with you that I'd found my birth father.
Yeah, there's a few lead ups maybe to that, if I remember back.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's what I described before was growing up. If one can say I was ignorant or just thinking maybe narrow-minded and thinking, well, we grew up in this family. I mean, what's the big deal? Why does one have to discover maybe where they came from? Aren't you in a good enough family? And maybe that's ignorant or maybe even selfish. I don't know per se, but I think so. In retrospect, with meeting and telling me about that, I was reluctant. But then when we got into it in depth and talking more about it, I grabbed your vision a little bit, and you said some things to me that hit me over the head, and I had to fathom a little more. But I understood a little more. But then even now, a couple of years later, even the older we get, hopefully we learn more or understand more, is people go through many things, and one can think selfishly, or can one help or have a mindset of help or help someone to understand, or even me to understand. Because everybody has a journey, and they have to discover.
Well, I'll just speak to your point of like just even the fact that you used that word selfish, and, you know, some adoptive families tend to be, you go ahead then. Do you remember what you were going to say?
Well, if we can go back to the beginning, when mom and dad brought you home from Kelowna to Maple Ridge, in the driveway, I had my hockey bag and hockey stick. I was on my way to practice for a game. And mom said, "Oh, here she is." And I was 15 years old. It's 15 years between us. And I was ignorant. And I thought about this, and I guess selfish, because I'm like, well, why do we need anyone else in our family? Like, what? Everything's okay. Everything's cool. Why upset the apple cart? I don't know, but I didn't know what was going on Mom's heart. Yeah. Right. And we'll get into that later. But when she brought you in, I took one look at you and I said, all right, well, I wasn't too happy, but you look cute. And you got cuter and cuter with all those curls. But I left. Mom and Dad and you went in the house. But then it got better and better. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I grew on you.
Oh, yeah. And annoying at times.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. I definitely, you can thank me for being such a patient human, because I put this guy through, oh my gosh, I would just torture him with my teasing, and you just tolerated me so well.
But you know, I think we needed you, because that expands one's horizons, but family and feelings, love, and you grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I feel like each one of my children have taught me something about life or myself, or have, you know, stretched me in ways that I wouldn't have been stretched if they hadn't have been part of our family.
I could never think of not having a little sister.
Yeah.
I could never think that. Aww. Like, I mean, yeah.
Aw. Well, a lot of adoptive people out there don't have as supportive families as maybe I do. And so I think for them to watch the film and see how supportive you were to them, I think it impacted them so much, because it healed a little place in their heart where their family couldn't show up. You represented something for them.
Yeah, I thought about that too. Is, you know, I could be ignorant and selfish, like we mentioned before, but if we put ourselves in that person's shoes, that would be horrible. I knew of one guy, he was adopted. His mom and dad adopted him. But the dad's brothers or family said, well, he's not really part of our family. He's not blood. Mm-hmm. And, well, that floored my friend's mother. And but family's family. It's what you make of it. Hey, you're a family unit, right? We're supposed to help out each other, and that's what Mom and Dad did with all of us. And you grew on us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think for adoptive families it can be uncomfortable, because they feel like, well, you're ours. You belong to us. Like, didn't we give you enough? Didn't we love you enough? Didn't we provide for you enough? Now you want to leave us and go off and find your real family, you know? Yeah. And I know that there can be a little bit of a resistance. Did you ever feel a little bit of that?
Yeah. Well, when we were talking on the back patio that time, it was kind of like that, but I needed to understand or expand my mind, that was your need, that was your journey. And so getting older, you understand, like, we have to be open. Like, everyone's a different book, and we all have a story. like, why should I close your story?
Yeah.
Why should I be a roadblock for someone to grow or to expand? Right? Can't I grow? We should all be able to learn.
Wow, that is very profound for you to say something like that. And, you know, if you are a family member of an adopted person, I just really encourage you to listen to those words again, because I can't imagine if, you know, Mom and Dad and you and Kirk felt or indicated to me that you didn't approve of me looking for my family or discovering those things, because I feel like my loyalty to you guys is so deep that I wouldn't want to hurt you. I wouldn't want to. I think I'd probably get past it because I'm pretty headstrong, and I probably would have done it anyway. But yeah, to have that kind of support, I think, is so important, because I do have my own story, and I do have a whole other like existence, a family, you know, aside from you guys, that it really was important for me to go discover. And yeah, I remember chatting with you that night on the patio and saying actually those words like, well, Mike, you know, put yourself in my shoes. You've always known who your family was. You've always known your heritage. You've always known.
So
it impacted you deeply, obviously, because you're having some emotions here, and I can remember we just cried together.
Yeah, we did when it's not a boasting thing, but maybe I can speak to somebody is if you grew up with everything. We were talking about purpose before. If you grew up with everything, and I think you have a responsibility to. Again, you could be in your own shell in your own room and just have, be there. But if you have everything, you got a responsibility. How can I help someone else? How can I help someone grow? That should be our attitude. And when you were on the patio there talking like that, yeah, we had those moments, and yeah, it was eye opening. It was eye opening, and it's again a journey to learn.
Yeah, I feel like in that moment you understood me, and you like. I felt really seen by you, and I felt really accepted by you. And I just felt like it was such a pivotal point in our relationship and our friendship. And it was such a great moment. It was such a great jumping off point for us. And I feel like we've grown so much in our friendship and our relationship, just as a brother and sister.
I would really concur with that. I think after that, or even before different family things going on before that, I think I think people want to be validated or understood, and I think when we're understood, we our defenses are down, and we can grow, of course.
So I can remember actually being really afraid to ask each person to be a part of my film, because I was really, I was really scared they were going to say no.
Wow.
And I was afraid that, people would think that I didn't have good intentions, when my intentions were truly so pure. I just wanted to tell this story, and I wanted to legitimately get each person's perspective. I didn't have an agenda for you to share, I just wanted to sincerely hear what your experience was like. And so it was really, it felt very risky to ask each person to be a part of it. And I remember I was sitting outside of my counselor's office, before my counseling appointment, and I was chatting on the phone with you, and I asked you if you'd consider being in in my documentary, and before I could even get the words out of my mouth, you were like, "You bet, sweetheart." And it just like, it was so touching, because then when I asked John, our brother, if he would be in the documentary, he said the exact same words.
Okay.
"You bet, sweetheart." And it was just so, I don't know, it was just so meaningful and so precious for me to have everybody on board. And, you know, I don't think we would have had the conversations that we had if it weren't for the documentary. You know, there was some things, and I don't think that I would have even gained the perspective that I gained had we not done those hours and hours of interviews. And so it gave me a lot of insight. And I think at the end of the day, it really solidified how like truly loved I was within our family. So
Definitely.
it was really so special. So was there a moment during filming where something really clicked for you, or when you saw things in a new light?
Well, I seen things come together, and the picture more clearer, and well, your purpose, well, your story, but healing and helping others out. I could kind of see, so if one could be honest and tell the story and how that can relate to people. So yeah, it was kind of a bigger thing, not just one story. I think it's helping out many stories.
I think so too. And I can remember that moment. I remember we took a little break and went to go have some dinner, and you were like, "This could really help a lot of people."
Yeah, that's right.
I remember you saying that, and I agree. Like it's, you know, as much as being the youngest child and being the daughter, the only girl, and it, you know, was often all about me and the family.
Yes, Mom spoiled you.
But, you know, it really, I think my heart was that there was a bigger picture, that there was a greater purpose, that, and I feel like I've experienced that over and over and over again when people watch the film and they, you know, either feel really impacted by the words that you said in your position, or the words that I said, or just the experience, you know. It's been really incredible to see the power of how, if you just if you show up and you're vulnerable and you're willing to walk in your purpose, that God can really use that as something so healing for other people.
We don't know how it impacts others, or one little story or sideline, and how older brother, grandpa, because with your story and those involved and their perspectives, how they can help out those other family members in their positions of whatever it may be, authority or help and they can make a difference. Maybe we can relate to each of them and different healing.
I think too, if somebody, like, there's some people out there that can't even fathom maybe what it would look like for their adopted brother to be supportive of them. And I think to be able to have that on screen and to be able to see that it's possible is hopeful in and of itself for people to see that.
Well, if I could continue, like John, our brother, older brother, when he was adopted and in Manitoba on the farm, and him growing up, I still remember him talking about his adoptive dad telling him, "Well, why can't you be like the rest of my kids?"
Yeah.
Like, see, that's short-sighted. Well, you can show examples to kids and that, but that doesn't mean they're going to be exactly how you are, or your biological kids. But it comes down to grace. If we want our kids to flourish, and because I have 4 kids, I want them to flourish. They all have gifts and abilities. Do I want them all to become a truck driver or a heavy equipment operator? It might be some of the only things I know, but I like them to experience different things or jobs or even school if they want that. We all have a different toolbox.
Yeah.
How can we use our tools for kids to flourish?
Yeah, yeah. So for those of you who are listening and haven't watched Because She's Adopted, my adoptive mother and father and Mike's mom and dad, our mom and dad, they had a son at a young age and gave him up for adoption. And our mom tried to find him for many, many years. She looked for him, and it was a void in her life, and it was an emptiness in her life. And then they found him. They found him like 60 years later. And Mike always thought he was the oldest. Turned out he wasn't. And so John was adopted into a family where maybe he didn't get the kind of support that I got.
Yeah.
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 And so he's got quite an interesting story, and yeah, shared very openly and honestly with us, and that was pretty special to watch
great.
too.
It was great. It was perfect.
You know, it's interesting. The more that I get into like the history of adoption and adoption practices within Canada now, it's a little more dark than I think we know. You know, there's now a lot of research done on coercion of mothers to give their children up, right, for adoption too. So there's a real dark side to adoption as well. I'm catching you off guard probably because we're talking about something maybe we haven't chatted about before.
No.
And
I've heard a few little things along those lines, but I didn't know that amount. So what we're talking about is the process is broken or needs overhaul.
Yeah, definitely. And there's, there's adoption abolitionists out there now, or adoption reformists who believe that adoption abolitionists believe that adoption should be completely abolished, and that we can do it. The whole system, like what you said, the whole system needs to be overhauled, that families can take children in, but they can do it in ethical ways where nobody's making a profit off of these children being adopted. So, you've heard, like we've all heard about foster parents just having another foster kid and another foster kid and another foster kid come in because they're, it's their meal ticket, right?
And I'll add to that too. I remember an old friend, Jim from school. He was, he went into foster home, him and his brother, but the one foster home he was in, he was still in high school. We were going to high school, about to graduate, but he turned 18 and he wasn't a meal ticket anymore. His foster parents kicked him out. He had no place to stay. So mom and dad, we let him stay at our place for a while until he could find a place. Crazy.
Yeah, it is a broken system, and me personally, I'm really trying to advocate more for, us being able to keep our original identity instead of having like our birth certificates changed and because those are all things that like down the road we get to be adults. We don't know any of our medical history. We don't know, maybe we need to get in touch with our biological family. And we can't because there's records that are sealed, and there's still, I think there's still 2 provinces in Canada that won't allow the records to be opened at all. So like really these adopted people have no way of knowing like anything about themselves.
That's not right. I didn't know exactly about that. But
Well, thanks for listening, because again, like that's, and I mean, that's just the spirit in which I feel like you enter into our conversations. You've just really got such an open and willing heart to like hear these things that I have to say. That,
Well, if people could be helped, or this program to be used for overhauling what's that part in Canada wrong. There's many other parts in Canada that could be overhauled, but that might be another podcast.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, so I want to get on into our next part of the podcast, where we take some questions from the viewers. So I had put I'd put your picture up on the internet.
Oh, no.
And I said, for those of you who remember my brother Mike from my film, and wanted to ask him some questions, now's your chance. So they sent me in some questions for you specifically, people that have watched the film. And
I can imagine.
There's people that have watched the film like 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Like
Okay.
yeah. So, okay. This question is from Lisa from BC. Do you ever feel like it was difficult to have a little sister who was adopted?
Hi, Lisa. It was very no. Right at the beginning, but in retrospect, and I loved it because there's times Kristal would bug me. Oh my goodness. But just a little sister, right? But it was awesome. It was awesome. I really enjoyed having her around and taking her to school or doing whatever. It was great to have Kristal as a little sister.
You guys, you brothers were very active brothers and would take me and do things with me and protect me. And like, you guys were everything that a big brother should be to their little sister. So I think that you guys were great. I really did feel I loved you guys. Love you guys. So a viewer shared that your understanding in the film gave them hope for their own family members to get it one day. So what advice would you give to people trying to explain their adoptee experience to loved ones who don't fully understand yet?
Well, first of all, I'd say is those people, they can come see me. We can have a coffee. We can talk about it. No problem. Anytime. My name is Mike. I live in Vernon. But the experience, how can I tell them that it was...
What advice would you give to people trying to explain their adoptee experience to loved ones?
What advice?
You don't want to give advice?
Yeah, well, my advice would be love comes softly. Don't give up. Bring examples.
I think what you showed to me, like what you did was that felt the most supportive to me was you listened, you had a willingness to understand and put yourself in my shoes. And furthermore, you were willing to do what it took to support me. And I think for that, for me, it was like being part of the film, but then even furthermore, just listening to my stories, listening to my journey, listening to my process, and not judging me. I think there was times where you really asked curious questions that you were legitimately curious about.
Yeah.
And
you said it better than me, I think. But if I can add is if we're willing, and do we want our loved ones around us to be built up? And if part of them is to be built up, then what steps can we do to support that?
yeah.
Support, love, and understanding. I think that's a pretty big foundation.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, one viewer said they could see the love and care in your voice throughout the film. How did you navigate being vulnerable and honest in such an emotional and public project?
Well, I love you. I'm proud of you. You've been through a big journey. If I can help you out in a little part and help others out, some days are tough, some days are easier, but the purpose of it all is we all want to be better people, don't we? We don't want to be stuck in a thing of negativity. If there's a way out of that through learning, love, and understanding and support, which we just talked about, that's what I want to be like. I want to show care. Aren't we better people if we share love and care and support?
Yeah.
I think so.
Did you ever at any point feel like exposed or nervous about, putting it out there, like telling your story, being involved in it? Like you came to the screening here.
Yeah, I didn't. No, not really feel vulnerable. I mean, I want to be honest. I want to. I want to help.
So it didn't. I mean, from my perspective, it didn't seem like it was all that difficult for you. Like I felt like you just showed up, and even for our dad too. Like I really felt like you guys pushed past all of like any fears you might have had, because you knew that you were doing it for someone you loved, and you knew how much it meant to me, and that was what.
That was enough.
That was enough. Yeah.
That was enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How can you best support? Sorry, I'll ask that again. How can I best support the adoptee in my family if I'm seeing them struggle with feelings of not belonging in the family? I think you probably saw me go through some of that.
Or maybe I didn't recognize it.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't recognize it, but we need to be honest with ourselves, and train ourselves to ask those questions. I'm guilty, probably, in our family of, everything's okay. Sweep things under the carpet, maybe, per se, if they're a big thing or just an emotional thing. But no, it's important to recognize if somebody is struggling, and that could be any kind of struggle. But we're talking about adoptees, and I would want them to know they belong. Mm-hmm. I don't want anyone to feel they're not part of my family, our family. Yeah. That would be hurtful. If we put ourselves in their shoes, I wouldn't want to be on the outside. I wouldn't want to feel like I'm on the outside. I want to feel that I belong and I'm loved, that someone's got my back.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna, if I'm having a real tough time or something, that they're gonna be there, and not feel judged that, they're not really part of us.
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't that slay you?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I think in my own experience, there was many times, years, that I pulled away from the family because I, in my head, believed that I didn't belong. And so I would say that, if at that time, if you knew that that was what was happening, maybe you would have reached out more or something like that, right? Yeah. And so for family members, if you do see the adopted person in your family, pulling away or isolating themselves from the family, just keep being persistent, I would say. Keep letting them know that they're loved, that they, that they do belong.
Did you think that I loved you a lot more when I'd throw you in the pool and push you in the pool?
Yes, because I was getting attention and I liked attention.
Mom and Dad had this, we grew up with a pool, It was terrific. And Kristal, she was a good swimmer. So I knew I could just grab her and push her in the pool. But sometimes not too often. I would lose. She'd grab me or take me in with her. It was awesome.
How emasculating that your little sister got you and pushed you in. Okay, we've got one final question from an anonymous person. They want to know, will you ever fulfill your promise to Kristal and buy her a pony?
I thought we made a deal.
We did. That was from my husband.
I promised her a pony, I guess. It's funny how people, especially girls, remember things like that. So we made a deal that she got our dog, Rocky. And Rocky has been a great
He's in
addition to your family.
He has. Yeah. So he said, here's the dog. I don't want to hear about the pony ever again. I'm sorry I brought the pony
No, that's
up.
okay, because when I heard that, I've got an idea. But maybe on another podcast, someone can ask me again if I got her a pony. No one had to say how big or small.
Okay. Why do you think it's important to listen to each other's stories?
Well, whether it's in marriage, kids, adoptees, it is important. Everyone needs to be heard or wants to be heard. Tells you're caring. Again, we want to be a built-up people, human beings. Our basis is love. If no one's listening to me or cares about me, well, that says a lot. I want to be loved.
Yeah.
I want to show love.
I love you.
I love you, sis.
Okay. This question I'm really interested in, actually, and this is going to be one of our last ones. How did your family members react to your role in the film? Did it spark any conversations or reflection within your family?
If I can remember back. Oh, no, they were glad I did it. And I can't remember exact conversations about it. But anything was positive anyways. It was a great experience to be part of that. But I think, again, it was just helpful and help. I'm sure it did, but I can't think of any particular conversation now after the first, the show.
Yeah. John, what did you think about your dad and the job he did on the film?
I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, it's always different, but it's cool when dad's usually very lighthearted, but when seeing him talk about when he finally can settle and talk about something serious, he handles it very maturely, I think.
Oh, you're so mature, according to your son. That's so sweet. Are you proud of your dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So,
buddy.
yeah. Okay. So.
Oh, if I think people, they hadn't seen me like that before, or talking about such things in depth or really thoughtful, heartfelt things.
Yeah. You were so, just so authentic and tender-hearted through the whole thing. It was really beautiful to see. Yesterday, we had another interview here, and her name's Tanis, and she was talking about her nieces and nephews, because she's an adoptee, but she's Korean, and they're all white. And so she was like, oh, I wonder what my nieces and nephews think, why I'm Korean and the rest of the family's white. And I turned to my nephew, John, your son, and I said, did you always know I was adopted? And he said, well, I remember when I was a very small child, you told me you were adopted, but I didn't really know what that meant. But Dad would talk about you, and I always knew you were special. And me and Tanis cried.
That's awesome.
And then when I got in the truck, I phoned you right away until I said, you got to know what your son just said. Yeah, I gave him a nice big hug. He's the sweetest little guy. He's not a little guy. He's a grown man now. I'm sorry. Well, Mike, thank you so much for being a part of my life and a part of my story. Your voice in the film was so powerful, and I know that it inspired many people. And so I appreciate you, and I love you, and I'm so glad you're my big brother. And I just want to say thank you to all the listeners and viewers. Thank you for listening. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcast, and we'll see you next time.
And if I can add to that, if anyone has a pony idea, I'm feeling a little bit guilty, but if you have an extra pony, just let me know.
Okay, wait. Mike, let's, on the count of 3, say together the thing that we say to each other when we get off the phone with each other. When we're encouraging each other.
Encouraging each other.
It's a hockey.
Okay.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Keep your stick on the ice.
That's good.